Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Hey, welcome to the show. So glad to have you. Appreciate you joining us for the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. I am Garrett Williamson. Glad to have you here today. I want to ask you a question. It kind of goes back into the early days of my training when I actually used to work out of homes. I wasn't training out of a personal training facility or a gym. I really cut my teeth as a one-on-one personal trainer working out of different homes. In fact, I would drive from my hometown to a neighboring city in a neighboring state, as a matter of fact, 2 or 3 days a week, and actually would drive what we call in this area across the bay, which was quite a haul, to another city and train some people. And that would all be in one day. I used to do a lot of home training. And to make ends meet, I was also repped fitness equipment. Found something very interesting about selling fitness equipment. And I actually developed relationships with several different manufacturers. And in that time, that was back in around 93 or so, I developed a good relationship with several of them because, of course, they were wanting to sell equipment. And many of them, there were only so many fitness facilities in the area. So they would partner with personal trainers that had good clientele list in order to move their product. And so I was blessed to be actually aligned with several of the big ones, and some of them that would only sell to facilities. So that was kind of interesting. In fact, that brings up another story that I'll have to save for another time. But when I actually had a brush with 60 Minutes because of dealing in commercial fitness equipment. So don't worry, my past is not as checkered as you might think. But what I found very interesting about selling the equipment, besides, of course, I make a few dollars on it, and that helped me make ends meet. And I would outfit, sometimes it was just some dumbbells or something, and sometimes it was a cardio piece. That was very popular. And then it would be entire facilities. I outfitted more than one home gyms. One of them was done with some fantastic top-of-the-line equipment where they actually backed up a huge commercial truck and left some stuff there. But I found something interesting. I learned a lot about equipment at that time. So when I outfitted my own facility, of course, I knew the reps and the manufacturers, knew all the equipment, and very familiar with it. Made it easy for me. But I found out something very interesting that's common and necessary, very necessary, I found, to make each one of these pieces effective. I mean, it was common amongst the dumbbells, treadmills, ellipticals, bikes. Also, not only just fitness equipment, but also programming. Diet programs, strength programs, weight loss programs, all of them needed this one simple concept to make them effective. And this is why I have a business. And it happens to be the number one thing that we sell, and that is accountability. Buying a treadmill, many people think that, I'm going to buy a treadmill because I'm going to take it running at home and I'm going to do all this fantastic stuff. And you hear comedians talking about this all the time, about don't buy a treadmill, buy an elliptical because you can hang more clothes on it. Or one of my favorite comedians was talking about the fact that he has a recumbent bike in his bedroom and there's only 3 miles on it. And the reason there's that many is because the baby likes to spin the pedals on the floor. Just people don't use it. And the reason being there's no accountability. There's no accountability to whether or not you get on that treadmill and use it, whether or not you actually use a recumbent bike or do a workout with dumbbells. There's no accountability. This is the same situation we run into with folks that want to rehome dogs. If you know me, of course, I'm involved in animal rescue, with my wife being the director of SaveAstray.org. People finding out that, wow, I have a great yard and what have you, but my dog just tears up the door of the house. I've got to rehome him because he's so active and he's got plenty of room to run. And a yard doesn't make a dog want to run. What makes a dog want to run is some stimulus. There's another dog out there, deer to chase, ball to chase, what have you. There's accountability. There's some kind of stimulus. There's something else involved. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, it has to go with making a home program successful. And accountability happens to be the biggest thing that we sell the most of, is accountability. I have the number one personal training facility in the state of Alabama. I have a top 10 in the Southeast. I have the most qualified staff in the Southeast, with everybody having at least a bachelor's degree in the field of either exercise science, exercise physiology, kinesiology, or athletic training and sport medicine. So they're fantastic, but the biggest thing we sell is, of course, accountability. And the reason I'm talking about accountability today is I want to speak about a very hot topic right now, one we've been involved in the past few years. But the recent pandemic has brought it to the forefront, and that is online training. Why would you consider online training? Now, if you've never done it before and you think you know about online training, stay tuned. Because there's a lot that I thought I knew about online training until I started actually conducting online training 2 years ago. And then when we started doing it in higher volume, as compared to personal training in a gym, which I've done in gyms, I've done in personal training facilities, I've done in homes, I've done them in academic settings. But online training offers a completely different experience. And believe it or not, so many benefits to actually doing online training, especially virtual online training where you're doing live training with a trainer. And that's what I want to talk about today is online training, what it is, and some of the key points that you may not be familiar with. Speaking about equipment, if I'm talking about equipment, and I get asked this all the time about what's the best treadmill, or what's the best manufacturer, what's the best elliptical, what's the best bike. And I get a lot of questions about different manufacturers. I want to tell you right now, the most effective piece of fitness equipment, especially now in 2020, the most effective piece of fitness equipment is something with an internet connection. And it's something that, it's something you have with you all the time. You've got a phone with you. It's something with an internet connection seems to be right now the most effective piece of fitness equipment. Why? Well, one thing, it's always with you. I mean, it's with you at all times. It's at home. It's at work. It's when you travel. It's in the bathroom. For those very few odd people that actually would, take their phone into the bathroom. But your phone and your internet connection can be your most effective fitness tool because it gives you access to professional instruction. It gives you access to accountability. I'll tell you something about accountability. Now, this is why I would say it's so important. The American Society of Training and Development, ASTD, did a study on accountability and found that you have a 65% of completing a goal if you commit to someone. And if you have specific accountability appointment with the person you've committed, you will increase your chance of success by up to 95%. That takes that whole idea of, I've got some dumbbells in my weight room downstairs or in my garage. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to make something happen versus I've got Josh waiting for me at 3:00. He's going to call me. He's going to FaceTime me. He's going to take it through a mind-body virtual connection, contact me. And boy, I better get ready because my training session is about to start. Really makes your equipment effective or makes your program effective. I just gave you my elevator speech on Personal Edge Fitness about the fact that we have the most qualified staff, and that's one of my parts of my elevator speech. And I say that's the number one reason why we exist is accountability. But at the end of the day, we're here to make sure you have a good workout and reach your goals. And besides having 2 different facilities in this area and also being available to go to homes, we actually go to corporate sites. But now we can and have basically gone worldwide. We are wherever you are, and that's through online training. Let me tell you some benefits of that versus being in a facility. And keep in mind, I have more than one facility. I'm a fan of people showing up and going to the gym, but I have a passion for helping people reach their level of wellness. And we can do that now, wherever, through online training. One of the benefits is flexibility. I mean, literally, you can train anywhere, anytime. Within 5 minutes, in fact, it happened this morning, within 5 minutes of a client climbing out of bed, they were doing warm-ups with me because of online training. I mean, face-to-face, doing warm-ups right there. And within 30 minutes, they were done with their workout and were less than 5 minutes into the shower. Now, that person, because of me bringing it to them and having the flexibility of training anywhere, anytime, the entire scope of time committed to their workout today was 40 minutes. Now, I'll break that down for you in just a minute. So at any moment, if you're doing it conveniently, if you're making it convenient to yourself by doing online training and doing it at home or doing it at work, you're 30 seconds from anything. I mean, you're within a minute from lunch, you're within a minute from your breakfast, a shower, your family, whatever, because of flexibility offered by online training. Typically, when you're thinking about time and you're considering time of a workout, most people talk about, well, how long is the workout itself? That's not what we need to figure. What we need to figure is not just the workout itself, but how long does it take you to travel to the gym? And I'm very conveniently located in my hometown, but it still takes, I've got customers that are working in brokerage houses that are just literally down the street. They're one stoplight away. Still, added on to their workout time is at least, at best, a good 15 minutes at the beginning and 15 minutes at the end. And that's if they're not taking a shower or what have you. So if they come over here and do a half-hour session with us, which is a fantastic session, I have a lot of people that do it, they're still looking at an hour. Well, with online training, maybe 40 minutes. And it's 40 minutes between the workout itself and actually starting your next activity, whether it's taking a shower, whether it's getting something to eat or whatever, but you're there. It's so convenient. Also, not having to leave work or home, not having to worry about having a babysitter, missed calls, returning from your escape. That's another thing, is that taking a break when somebody gets going on a project. I have an accountant that does this, and he does a lot of work from home, and we do online training. But for him to take a mental break, he can do that. But him take a physical break, change clothes, get in a car, drive down to my facility or whatever, that's a big separation from what he was focused on. Now, he needed a break from it, but a total escape, a total, where the heck was I when he comes back, and take how long it takes him to get back into the groove of work, where if he's able to step away and do that quote unquote escape briefly, literally stands up from his desk, puts his glasses down, turns on his iPad, and we're working out, and within a few minutes afterwards, he's back into his desk, and he pretty well hasn't lost his place, but at the same time, he was able to do that relaxation, that step away, and get his workout in and not miss. Think about the times you've had, if you're a morning person working out, and I've had this happen recently, that's why I'm using it as an example, but I have some of the most dedicated individuals. Lord, we have an average tenure of a client is 8 years. I've got clients that have been with me over 20, not just one or two, several. And so these are people who are rather dedicated. You can set your watch by them, especially my early morning people. There's just not a whole lot at 6 a.m. that's going to interrupt your workout. But speaking of 6 a.m., my Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 a.m., he had to be in work for a meeting about an hour and a half earlier than he usually goes into work. Well, any other time of training with us, as dedicated as he is, that would have been a missed morning session. And maybe we would have made it up that day, maybe not, just because of schedules. Maybe I didn't have a trainer available, what have you. It just makes it difficult. We had to be in an hour early. So what did we do? If we were able to cut his workout by maybe 10 minutes, but he still got a fantastic workout in. Why? Because we're doing it online. Did it at his house. Able to shower. If he was leaving his house, he just needed to leave his house about 10 minutes earlier than he would have already been done, and he'd make it to work. But because we're doing online training, he had that availability. So, and as soon as you sign off, boom, you're back to whatever you were doing. You're right where you need to be. You're back to wherever you need to go. The problem I have that we see a lot, and again, we have a fantastic clientele, and we're very successful as far as attendance is concerned. Less than 4% of our sessions get missed or rescheduled in a week or month's time. Less than 4%. That's a pretty good track record of somebody calling up, God, I can't make it today. Can we reschedule? When it's online, it's less than 1%. Less than 1% missed sessions. Now think about being dedicated to a program and think about trying to hit your goals. If you're missing less than 1% of the time, obviously you're going to be far more successful. Far more successful. But when I have people coming in after work, there are so many ways that your car can just veer into another direction, going home. I almost want to put my building right in the middle of a 4-lane road that runs close to it. And why? Because I want them to have to run into my building on the way home. You can find all kinds of reasons to veer another direction going home and miss your workout entirely. I'm sure that everybody I've ever worked with is very honest with me when they miss a session, but at the same time, when you've got so many demands on your time, believe me, there's plenty of challenges you may have that can convince you to miss a session. Whereas if it's right there at your thumb, literally, I have a client that does this. He ends his day at 4 o'clock. At 4:05, we are working out. At 4:05, he is online with me. We are working out. We are doing a warm-up. By the time 4:35 rolls around, he's done, finished, ready to go home. So now it's just a 30-minute quote-unquote inconvenience. It's very simple to work that into the day. Chasing goals, we found incredible success with chasing goals with online training. I have a great example of this. Somebody I started doing virtual training with. We actually started this several years ago and kind of had clients that would do a little bit of virtual with us through some FaceTime. And now it's gotten far more sophisticated. People are using Zoom, and now we can do virtual straight through their software company that is an industry company that we use for our staff, for our payment processing and scheduling and on all that. We can actually do virtual training through there. But this client started with me several years ago, and a year and a half ago, she was getting married. And so she was trying to maintain her goal. She was getting ready for a wedding. She had a certain shape she wanted to be in. And at the same time, her business took her all over the country. And in 1 week, we trained her in Houston, New York, Gulf Shores, Alabama, and in my hometown, Mobile. We trained all that in 1 week. And a couple of days in Houston, and all different, everything from our gym to her apartment gym in New York, to a hotel gym in Houston, to her carport at her beach house in Gulf Shores. Why? Well, one thing, we're readily available. Easy access. She can be in Houston and be in Gulf Shores the next day and pick up right where she left off on her workout. She didn't have to reinvent the wheel, go find another gym to work out in, try to figure out what she's going to be doing. Literally can pick up from the sets and reps and body parts that we were working on the day before and run with it with no equipment, from equipment to no equipment from Houston to Gulf Shores. And why is that? Not only are we doing online training, but the second thing, she's working with a qualified staff. The majority of during the pandemic, many of our clients, of course, since they train with us here at Personal Edge and showing up here 3 to 5 days a week, most of them don't have equipment. They have no need for equipment. All their fitness is right here located in Personal Edge. So they weren't sure how long this was going to last, so they weren't interested in purchasing a lot of equipment. And so we did no equipment workouts. And having a qualified staff, having the individuals that have not only the years of experience, but also the education behind it of breaking down the muscles and knowing exactly what affects what movements affect what, being able to take body weight and not only work the entire body out safely, but also vary it enough, have enough variety in it so that it's not boring. Again, requires a qualified staff. But with a qualified staff, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying this because, like I say, I have a couple of different facilities and still have people come here to train. But sometimes it's even more effective online. And why? Because online, you're much more hyper-focused. Now think about this. If you're just doing some kind of online video webinar and you're just doing it to pick up CEUs and just so you can check a box, well, you may not be that paying attention. You may not be paying attention too much. You may not be paying attention at all. If it's your 90th Zoom meeting that month and the individual that you're listening to is somebody in your business that's droned on for days now, and you're not super interested, but you have to show your face, you have to log in and make sure you're there. Exactly. Then you're not going to be that focused. But if it's a training session, something you're interested in, and especially when you're doing complicated exercises, we do TRX exercises on suspension training exercises via online. And again, the full body through with no weight. The trainer has to get extremely descriptive. Therefore, the trainer needs to understand physiology. Not only do they understand how the body moves, what muscles do what, but they understand physiology, how all of it works together. And so they hyper explain, and you are typically hyper focused because you're trying to figure out, okay, exactly what do I need to be doing? That's what we're finding with our clients is that we are walking them through this almost better than when they're here at the facility. There's less distractions. Even though they're at home, they're locked into their workout. They have their headphones in. And so we are speaking rather, for lack of a better term, intimately with them and talking them through their workout. I'm working with a swimmer right now who's in phenomenal shape. And the strength gains that she's gotten in the last just 4 weeks, training 3 days a week, are tremendous. And it's all been on online training. Why? Because again, hyper-focus, making the best of all those 30 minutes and not having a reason to miss. I mean, she's a teenager, but she's not of driving age, so her parents would have difficulty getting her here anyway. Well, we're not missing a session. We're not missing a session at all. And with her, she's a competitive swimmer, and if you know anything about competitive swimming, the demands on their time are amazing. And the difficulty and challenges we've had of getting this particular athlete to our facility, like we've had with a lot of athletes, especially athletes like swimmers, because of the time they spend in the pool, it's very difficult to get them in here. Even if we do have a window when we could actually make some resistance training effective and work with their program, it's a challenge. It's a challenge just to arrange the driving to get here around schoolwork, around homework, around family activities. But with online training, it's basically step out of the room for half an hour and step back in and get on with your life. And it's incredible the difference that she's been able to make in just the last 4 weeks through virtual training. I was talking about the numbers, and this is amazing. This was kind of baffling to me. Again, owning 2 facilities, I want them to be successful. I want you to give us a call. I want you to train with us. But we average in our Mobile location 260 client sessions a week in an open facility, and that's over 50 sessions a day. And that's all one-on-one sessions, not to mention our classes and what have you. That's one-on-one sessions. During the pandemic, we've been running around 240 a week. And like I said earlier, around just under 5%, it's actually 4%, of sessions are missed or rescheduled when people are in our facility. Less than 1% of those clients are missing online. Now you can imagine, we're celebrating 20 years this year, and we've never had a contract with a client. You can imagine that our training must be fairly good. Well, with that few of sessions being missed, those clients being hyper-focused, paying attention to their training, you can imagine how fast they're getting to their goals. And I promise you, they're definitely avoiding the COVID-15 or the quarantine 15, as they're calling it, because of training online. Another added benefit that we found, this is something we found when we started doing the higher volume. of virtual training, because some of the individuals we were working with, of course, they were isolated situations. But when we started in the higher volume, we noticed some real opportunities that online training allowed. And one of them was that you can train with anyone, anywhere. And I said that earlier about being able to train anywhere. But what I'm talking about is I have a grandmother who's 84 years old. She's been with me 22 years now, and she trains online with me 3 days a week. Well, recently, she trained online with her daughter and her son and her granddaughter. Now, all actually watching her sessions, and in this case, they were watching her session. But some of them are located in Texas. Some of them are located in Tennessee. One of them was down at the beach, and of course, she's here in Mobile. But it was so neat because of our online training. This is the first time in 22 years they actually got to see her workout, and definitely the first time. Some of them they ever got to see it. Some of them have been at the facility before, but others have never been here, so they've never seen their mother and grandmother work out, and she does an incredible workout. And so they were excited to see that. We've had people that have been able to work out with friends and relatives that are across the country, and they actually get to be in a boot camp class together or get to be in a one-on-one or two-on-one session together. One of my favorites is Josh. Joshua Gooch is he's an assistant director, and he's an Eastern Shore manager, and he's been a trainer with us for 5 years now. And Josh is just tremendous. But Josh has a neat trick he does with his online training. When he's working out with somebody online and somebody in the family crosses the camera, he pulls them into the session. And so now he's got, during the pandemic, he was training families upon families upon families. And they were getting a chance, and they thought how awesome it was. They got a chance actually to work out with their family. I have a grandfather that's quarantining at the beach, and his grandson happened to be with him. And so he got to train and work out with his grandson every day. And the difference in that program was incredible. Well, how do you get involved? Well, it's very easy to do. In fact, I'll tell you a great example of why this is easy to do. I have an immunocompromised client contacted us just a week ago and is interested in getting involved in training. I was on a webinar with a financial group, and she became very interested. And she said, yeah, but I can't leave the house even when there's not a pandemic on. I have difficulty because of a certain condition she has. And so it's no problem. We were able to handle everything online. We sent her health risk appraisal. We did the consult online. She sent her information. We got her on the schedule, and we'll start virtual training. Just like some other clients that we have in other states, I'm not sure if I'll ever meet this person face-to-face, but we will have an opportunity to change their life. It's very simple to do. If you got an internet connection, we can make it happen. But virtual training has really opened up a whole new avenue for a lot of people. And it's something we've been doing for a while. The reason why I wanted to do the podcast on is let people know that that is available. If you're interested in working with the most qualified staff in the Southeast, you're interested in really making a difference in your life, don't think twice about contacting me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. We'll get you set up. We'll get you on the way to making a difference in your life and using, if need be, virtual or online training. Just one more way we help you live your level of wellness.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.